What is a project and what is project management? Ever delivered a perfect software upgrade only to hear stakeholders say it didn't help? I'm PM Panda, PMP certified, 25 years leading projects across MNCs in systems integration and digital transformation. I teach what actually works when deadlines slip and stakeholders panic. Let's get into it. Imagine checking every box. You hit your milestones, stayed under budget, and the technical team is high-fiving. But then the launch happens. 6 months later, the business hasn't improved. The original inefficiency you were supposed to fix is still there, and the stakeholders are asking what they paid for. This is a nightmare scenario for any project leader who focuses only on tasks. This happens because we often confuse checking off tasks with generating real business value. You are producing deliverables, the stuff, but the organization isn't actually changing for the better. When your project produces an output that doesn't lead to a positive outcome, your project has effectively failed. Your stakeholders are noticing the gap between what you built and what they actually needed to succeed. Today, we are going back to the absolute basics to fix this. We are defining exactly what a project is, what it means to manage one, and how to guarantee your next initiative actually delivers the fix your organization needs. No more wasted effort on outputs that don't matter. Let's look at the core definitions that every working professional needs to master to stay relevant. At its simplest level, a project is a temporary initiative in a unique context undertaken to create value. Let's break that down piece by piece. First, consider the word temporary. This indicates that every project has a defined beginning and a defined end. It isn't meant to go on forever. If there is no finish line in sight, you aren't running a project. You are running a department. If you are managing something that doesn't have a clear conclusion, you are likely running a repetitive process or a recurring operation, not a project. Projects are finite. They are launched to achieve a specific goal and then they close down. This temporal nature is what gives project management its sense of urgency and its need for careful schedule management from the very first day. Then there's the unique context. Every project is distinct. It has its own goals, environment, and stakeholders. Even if you are a construction manager building a housing development based on a standard template, doing it on a new plot of land with new local regulations and a different team makes it a unique project. This uniqueness is why we can't just use a copy-paste approach. Projects are the primary drivers of organizational change. They are the vehicles that move a company from its current state to a desired future state. Think of your organization as a living entity. To grow or adapt, it needs to change how it operates. A project is the structured effort that creates the bridge between where you are today and where you need to be. This shift is always designed to achieve business value. Value isn't always about money. It can be tangible, like increased profitability or a reduction in manufacturing costs. But it can also be intangible, such as a boost in brand reputation, improved employee morale, or better public safety. As a project manager, your job is to deliver that value, not just the technical specifications of the scope. To understand projects, you must understand operations. Operations management focuses on efficiency and ongoing repetitive production. Think of a car factory. The daily work of assembling cars on an established line is operations. It's the engine that keeps the business running day in and day out. Operations are permanent, or at least long-term, and focused on maintaining the status quo and optimizing existing processes. Projects, conversely, are the one-time efforts that change the engine. If that same factory wants to install a new automated robot to speed up the assembly, that installation is a project. Once the robot is live and integrated, the work of using it every day transfers back to the operations team for daily maintenance. Projects create the capability. Operations use the capability to generate daily results. In my experience, this line gets blurred in ways that cause massive friction. I once led a telco billing cutover where the operations team treated the temporary project tasks as just another set of daily routine tickets. Because they didn't recognize the unique, time-sensitive nature of the project work. Critical deadlines were missed. You must clearly communicate when a task is project-based versus part of the routine. So, how do we define project management? It is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet or exceed the intended value. This definition is critical. Notice it doesn't say, to finish the scope. It says, to meet the value. This means as a project manager, you are a value protector for the organization, not just a person who checks a schedule. Proper project management requires value-driven decision-making. You must constantly ask if your current path is still going to satisfy the underlying stakeholder needs. If the market changes or the business environment shifts, blindly executing the original scope might lead to a project that is successful on paper, but a failure in reality. You have to be willing to adapt your plans to protect the ultimate value. Let's walk through a scenario. Imagine a global logistics hub implementing a new automated robotic sorting system. This is a massive undertaking. The phase where you are planning the layout, purchasing the hardware, and performing the installation is the project. It has a specific start date, a unique set of challenges in that specific warehouse, and a clear end date when the system goes live. The moment the system is fully operational and the go-live period ends, the work shifts. The daily package sorting, the monitoring of the software, and the routine maintenance performed by the on-site staff become operations. The project was the bridge that brought the robotics capability into the warehouse. Now, the operations team is the one driving the daily business value from that new robotics capability. In my experience, skipping early operations engagement is a recipe for disaster. I've seen projects where the technical team finishes the installation and walks away, only to have the system crash on day 2 because the operations staff wasn't properly trained. You must involve the people who will run the system long before the project actually ends. Their feedback is essential for the long-term success of the initiative. I saw this clearly during a large-scale telco transformation. We were focused on the technical go-live, but the daily staff refused to adopt the new system because it didn't fit their actual workflow. We had to pivot our decisions and change the system design to focus on the value the staff needed. We chose outcome over output, and that was the only way we saved the project. Here's what most people get wrong after 25 years of watching this. The biggest mistake is confusing outputs with outcomes. An output is the thing you deliver, like a new software module or a physical building. An outcome is the business result that thing creates. If you deliver the software but it's so hard to use that no one uses it, you've delivered an output without an outcome. The second mistake is treating ongoing, repetitive routine work as a project. I see organizations wasting high-level project management resources on tasks that should be handled by standard operational processes. This creates unnecessary bureaucracy and slows everything down. Save your project management energy for the unique, temporary initiatives that are actually going to change the organization and move it into that future state of higher value. For those of you preparing for the PMP or other certifications, this distinction is highly relevant. You should expect scenario-based questions that ask you to identify whether a specific activity is a project or an operation. You'll also need to distinguish between outputs and value-driven outcomes. Mastering these definitions now will save you a lot of confusion when you're sitting in the exam room later. To wrap up, keep these 3 points in mind. First, projects are temporary endeavors with unique contexts. Second, they drive change from a current state to a future state to deliver tangible or intangible value. Finally, project management is the specialized application of skills to maximize that value and ensure the results are successfully transitioned to the operations team for the long haul. Here is your actionable next step for today. Audit your current task list. Categorize each major item as either a unique project or an ongoing operation. Once you identify them, you can stop treating your routine work like a crisis and start managing your unique projects with the focus they deserve. Go do that audit right now to clarify your workload and focus your energy. If this breakdown helped, hit like so I know to make more. Subscribe if you want practitioner lessons every week.